Hey guys, welcome to this next part. So in this section I will be showing you a bit of an overview of how I got to this place in Blender with this scene. So this is just a preview render of what the final render will look like when I've all the lighting and that in place. So I'll show you a few of the techniques and a few of the programs and bits and bobs that I used to get to this stage, and then that's what the final render looked like. So it's a great jumping off point for me to start painting into, and it just speeds up the process so much. And then being able to get that camera angle as well is just super helpful and quick. So if I hop on into this scene, so generally when I'm working with these, I'll have two scenes. I'll have a scene with all the bits and pieces that I'm gathering. So like some of these were free assets, and then some of them I got from an app called Quixel Bridge. So this hooks up to Blender, and you can basically just load in assets fully textured into Blender. It's absolutely amazing. So if you want to download this, it's free, and you can use some of the free, if you just go to quixel.com and then Bridge, you can get it there. And then yeah, there is a free section. Now it is limited, there's only a few things there and a few materials. So yeah, they have a mixture of materials and then 3D assets that you can load in with the materials on there. But it's absolutely incredible. So I'll show just how cool it is. So so I have this broken stump here and I have it downloaded. So if I come into this section, so you have asset info, download settings. So I have this model selected, LOD 1, and all my maps and that kind of thing there. Texture resolution 2K, mesh format FBX. So if I come over to export settings, it's going to be 2K. I've got my export to set to Blender. So when you have this loaded in or loaded onto your computer, before you load in an object or a material, you need to make sure you come in here and go to import and make sure you find Megascans here, and just click on that to activate the add-on. If you have any issues getting that to work, because sometimes it can be a little bit I had to play around with it a little bit when I was learning how to use it first, but if you just come into this question mark here and click that, it gives you a completely detailed rundown on how to get your Blender to, or Bridge to Blender add-on working smoothly. So if I just click export here, it's going to load up here and it will let me know then. So that's exported successfully to Blender. So if we come down here, now I need to scale it up due to the size of everything else in my scene, but it's just loaded in this fully detailed mesh for me. Let me rotate that. So yeah, this fully detailed mesh, and it's like, it looks incredible. Now this is the Eevee render that I have on here. So if I was to turn on the cycles render, we'd get even more detail. But it's just incredible, so fast, so handy, really speeds up your process. So I'll just move that over there for the minute. So so yeah, this was from Bridge as well, just using the exact same technique. These pieces here were from Bridge, and I just loaded in this one and mirrored it then to set up this little entranceway that you can see was in the final image. Loaded in the steps as well from Bridge. These pieces were from Bridge. This is also from Bridge. So like, just with all these few random pieces, like, you can build a really cool scene really fast, and I highly recommend checking it out. Another cool thing then is, like, so say I like the material on this statue here, so for the Sphinx, or the sheepy kind of statues that you see in the render, I actually combined a Sphinx statue with a statue of a lion. These were both free assets, so I combined them together, and I actually brought them into 3D Coat then, and just did a small bit of sculpting on them to get rid of some of this detail and simplify it down a bit. But yeah, basically, so I just join these together. So that was Control J. So I'm gonna click on my Sphinx first, and then press Shift left click on here, press Control L, got the materials, and that's going to duplicate. Now it hasn't duplicated onto the line part. I'd have to mess around with the mesh again, but you can see how you could just duplicate the mesh onto something that you brought in that's free. So again, it's just so quick, so handy, and you can have that on a few different assets then as well. So just for the purpose of this, I'll get that onto both of the models. So it doesn't go on completely smoothly because this is it's set for this statue and only works with this statue, but you can come in here and play around with that in the shader editor. I'd have to click on this one here, so see this number 3, that's just to separate that piece. Now that's an individual texture on this lion statue. So yeah, I'd have to come in here now, and I'd have to mess with the mapping. So in order to get that expanded, you need to have an add-on called Node Wrangler. Scroll down here to find it. Yeah, so you need to have this one here enabled, Node Wrangler. So when I clicked on this roughness map here and pressed Control T, that expanded it out and gave me this mapping and texture coordinate node. So now I need to link this mapping node to these other textures. So if I just highlight the 2 of them, so yeah, if I highlight these 2 and press F, that will link the mapping onto that. Alternatively, you can just drag the vector node down and attach it to the vector section on there. Okay, so now I'm controlling all these textures with this one map. So yeah, sometimes you can come in here and play with generated or UV, you might get a better result. So already that looks a little bit better than what I had before. I can compare. Yeah, they both give different results. I think I'd prefer the generated this time. And then yeah, like you can play with the rotation of the texture then as well, until it, you have a nice little base. So that'd be cool there, getting some of the discoloration on the lion's face. And then yeah, like you can play the scale then as well. So might have actually been cool with just 1 on the scale. So yeah, that's just a really quick way then of duplicating a texture over. And then yeah, this was from Megascans as well. I got the monkey from archive3d.net. It's another really handy website. you can get free 3D models. That's just import OBJ and then you go find your file. So yeah, that's a quick little rundown of that part. I'll show you what the scene looks like next. So I'm back into my main scene now. So when I'm doing my final render, I'll go into cycles. It's quite GPU or CPU intensive, so when I'm figuring out the scene, I'll work in Eevee. So I'll just let that load in. It might take a minute. So I'll give this a pause. Alright, so we're back in business. So you can see the lighting's a little bit different. It doesn't quite pick up the fidelity of what I had in cycles. But you can see like the scene is super simple. You know, I worked on those statues in 3D coat, and just did some very basic sculpting to try and change the shape of the snout, just to give me enough to paint on and an idea of like the rough shape. And you can see, like, you know, I just brought those pieces in from that other file. So, you know, I can come in here, I'll shift click all these, I'll press Control C. So you can see here 3 objects copied. I come in here and I paste them, Control V. Here they are here. So yeah, you can just basically keep your scene nice and clean, keep all your objects in another scene and then copy them in and you can place them then. It's just, yeah, so handy. And then, so yeah, that was the case for all these pieces. Same with the steps, the rocks, the water. So for the water, I create a plane, and this is the material setup here. So I'll show this real quick, how to get this working. So if I come back to my bit scene, I'm going to make a plane, Control A, I'll make a plane. I'm going to scale that right up. You can make a new window. So when you have that opened, you can change this then to shader editor. Click the new button there. So what you're going to want to make is a bump map and a noise texture. So if I come into this box and press Control A, search bump, add that, I'll press Control A. You have to be in this box now when you press that. So Control A, noise texture. So I want my bump, my normal map to connect to my normal map. I want the FAC to connect to the height. And then I'm going to change the base color. So I'll make it just around there. I'm going to lower the value of it. I'm going to move this up a little bit so it's not going through the perspective box. Okay, so if you come into scale, type in about 170, and you get this mad looking texture. We want to lower the strength now because this is just too strong. So if you go 0.058, that makes it more subtle. Now if that's not enough, you can make it a bit higher. And yeah, that's basically how you get some water really quick. Might lower this down a bit. Could scale it up some more. Oh yeah, then we need to lower the roughness to make that water, give it more of a shine. So can lower this right down to say, yeah, around, let's see, around 68. And yeah, depending on the size of your scene then, and the type of lighting that you have, you'd need to turn on screen space reflections as well. Over here in the Eevee, you can see that they add the reflections into the water, ambient occlusion, all these different bits over here as well. And then yeah, you can see with the light then you get this really nice reflective quality to the water. So I'll show you how to set up a camera. This took me a long time to figure out. It wasn't until I was watching Florent Lebrun's on Jamma's tutorials that I really kind of figured this out. So yeah, we're in the scene here. I've got a camera set up here, so if I press 0, it's going to bring me in there, and you know, I have the resolution set up here for a nice widescreen render format, and then down here I have a 23.2mm lens to get that epic feeling of looking up at the statues. So if I want to set up a new camera, I'm going to press Control A and camera. So that's set up a new one now, so you can see it here. So I need to make that my default camera. We're still going to the other one, so I believe it's Shift 0 or Control 0. Yeah, there we go, Control 0. So that has made this camera my my new default camera. So whenever I press 0 now on the number pad, by the way, I'm going into this camera. So obviously, yeah, the focal length is 50 mils. So you know, maybe something more like 25. And then if I press Shift tilde. So tilde is the little symbol below the @ symbol on my keyboard. I don't know, it might be different for your keyboard, but so yeah, with the tilde key then I can move around my scene. And I can find a nice angle. Now I might like a down shot, and I'm speeding up with the Shift button. And say I want to go back to this one then, Control 0, and I'll press that. And I'm moving around with W, A, S and D. So you might like a camera angle more like that. You know, it's just super easy to find that shot that you want, and you can make multiple cameras then, and you can jump between the cameras depending on what you're looking for. It's all super intuitive and very quick. So I will show how then I was getting the renders. So basically, let me see here. So for the renders, for the purpose of this, for being just quick and giving you the overview, I'm just going to use the Eevee engine because the cycles render would probably take an hour on my laptop. So so basically, you come over here and you're happy with your resolution, and that's all in order. And then down here I don't usually change anything, this all stays the way it is. Come into this little camera icon here, and when you're in the cycles engine you can change the samples of the render here, and once that's all in place, then I press F12 and boxes pop up on my under screen. I'll drag it over now when the render completes. So yeah, Eevee is super quick. And just zoom out. So yeah, this box will pop up. Your render's going to pop up in here. I come up to view and image, and I go save as, and then that's my render done and saved. Put it in the appropriate folder. And then for the color ID pass, you will want to, so if I come back to grayscale here and we go to flat, and we turn off the outline and we want random, so there we go, we have our random colors. If I press F12, see if that works. You can use this way if you if I go Control Alt Space. So we need to come into Workbench and we need to have flat, random, and make sure outline is turned off. And you can play with curves here. If I press F12 now, we'll get our cool render. So yeah, then you just come up here and you're going save as and into the appropriate folder, and you're ready to go. Then you can bring this into your Photoshop file and you have quick and easy selections to separate out your elements. And if I want to turn this off, then I'll turn curves back off and go back to Eevee. So yeah, that's a really handy quick way of getting your 3D file set up from Blender and back into Photoshop. I hope that gave you guys a good overview of what this process looks like. If you want a more in-depth view, I highly recommend checking out Jam and Jurabav's stuff and Florent Lebrun. That's basically where I learned all this information from. So if you want a more in-depth look at that, you can check out the tutorials. You might pay about $40 between both of them. Yeah, I hope that was helpful, and I will see you guys in the next part.